the Grit. Those Grizzlies, led by Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Randolph and Tony Allen, endeared themselves in countless ways, big and small. They reached 7 straight postseasons, upsetting the top-seeded Spurs in the 2011 first round and peaking with a trip to the 2013 Western Conference Finals. They also spoke frequently about their affection for the Memphis community. The connection built over uncommon longevity. Until the Grizzlies let Randolph and Allen leave in 2017 free agency, the Gasol-Conley-Randolph-Allen quartet had the longest active run together in the NBA. Now, Gasol and Conley have the longest active run together as a pair. But Memphis is shopping those two stars, and it's leading to some heartache. Gasol didn't like the Grizzlies letting Randolph and Allen go. Gasol doesn't like Memphis shopping Conley, who has spent all 11 of his prior NBA seasons with the Grizzlies. And Gasol himself could get traded after spending all 10 of his prior seasons in Memphis. That's how the NBA works, though. It's extremely difficult for players to earn loyalty from a team. Even players who spent their first 10 seasons with a franchise don't usually spend the rest of their careers with that team. Most of the players who remained with the same team after that 10-year mark already won a championship with that team. Most of the players who switched teams later in their careers didn't win a title with their original team. Here's every player who spent his first 10 seasons with the same team, sorted by whether they won a title in that span and whether they changed teams later in their career. No title, changed teams: DeAndre Jordan, Lack, 2009-2018, Jameer Nelson, ORL, 2005-2014, Anderson Varejao, Clee, 2005-2014, Andre Kirilenko, UTA, 2002-2011, Michael Red, Mill, 2001-2010, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Clee, 1998-2008, Adonal Foyle, GSW, 1998-2007, Allen Iverson, Fight, 1997-2006, Kevin Garnett, Min, 1996-2005, Danny Ferry, Clee, 1991-2000, Gary Payton, C, 1991-2000, Nick Anderson, ORL, 1990-1999, Patrick Ewing, NYK, 1986-1995, John Koncak, ATL, 1986-1995, Karl Malone, UTA, 1986-1995, Chris Mullin, GSW, 1986-1995, Terry Porter, 1986-1995, Vern Fleming, INT, 1985-1994, Jerome Kersey, 1985-1994, Clyde Drexler, 1984-1993, Derek Harper, Dahl, 1984-1993, Dominique Wilkins, ATL, 1983-1992, Rolando Blackman, Dahl, 1982-1991, Sidney Moncrief, Mill, 1980-1989, Robert Reed, Who, 1978-1988, Walter Davis, Far, 1978-1987, Tree Rollins, ATL, 1978-1987, Alvin Adams, Far, 1976-1985, Oscar Robertson, Sin, 1961-1970, Carl Braun, NYK, 1948-1959, no title, stayed on Team Jeff Foster, INT, 2000-2009, Rick Schmitz, INT, 1989-1998, Reggie Miller, INT, 1988-1997, Nate McMillan, C, 1987-1996, John Stockton, UTA, 1985-1994, Mark Eaton, UTA, 1983-1992, Daryl Griffith, UTA, 1981-1991, Allen Leavell, Who, 1980-1989, Tom Boerwinkle, Kai, 1969-1978, Jerry West, Lol, 1961-1970, Title, stayed on Team Manu Ginobili, SAS, 2003-2012, Tim Duncan, SAS, 1998-2007, Kobe Bryant, Lol, 1997-2006, David Robinson, SAS, 1990-1999, Joe Dumars, Det, 1986-1995, James Worthy, Lol, 1983-1992, Isaiah Thomas, Det, 1982-1991, Kevin McHale, Boss, 1981-1990, Larry Bird, Boss, 1980-1989, Magic Johnson, LOL, 1980-1989, Michael Cooper, LOL, 1979-1988, Fred Brown, C, 1972-1981, Bill Bradley, NYK, 1968-1977, Willis Reed, NYK, 1965-1974, John Havlicek, Boss, 1963-19 1972, Tom Sanders, boss, 1961 to 1970, Sam Jones, boss, 1958 to 1967, Cliff Hagan, STL, 1957 to 1966, Bill Russell, boss, 1957 to 1966, Paul Arizin, PHW, 1951 to 1962, Vern Mickelson, MNL, 1950 to 1959, Dolph Schayes, SYR, 1950 to 1959, title, changed to teams, Dwayne Wade, Mia, 2004 to 2013, Tayshaun Prince, Det, 2003 to 2012, Tony Parker, Sass, 2002 to 2011, Paul Pierce, Boss, 1999 to 2008, Scottie Pippen, Kai, 1988 to 1997, Michael Jordan, Kai, 1985 to 1995, Hakeem Olajuwon, Who, 1985 to 1994, Byron Scott, Lol, 1984 to 1993, Maurice Cheeks, Fi, 1979 to 1988, Dave Cohen's, Boss, 1971 to 1980, Bill Jackson, NYK, 1968 to 1978, Walt Frazier, NYK, 1968 to 1977, Bob Cousy, Boss, 1951 to 1960. There are also a few current players who spent their first 10 seasons with the same team: Russell Westbrook, OKC, 2009 to 2018, Udonis Haslem, Mia, 2004 to 2013, and Dirk Nowitzki, Thal, 1999 to 2008. Their fates are uncertain, though it seems highly likely Haslem and Nowitzki, who won titles, though Nowitzki didn't do it until his 13th season, will retire with their original franchises. And of course, there's also Gasol, Mem, 2009 to 2018, and Conley, Mem, 2008 to 2017. The Grizzlies never made even the NBA Finals, let alone won a title. Teams like that usually aren't motivated by nostalgia. Memphis, 19 to 29, is 14th in the Western Conference. The Grizzlies can rebuild around rookie Jaren Jackson Jr. Gasol and Conley could fetch assets, younger players and draft picks, that enhance the next era. Everything about this situation screams for Memphis to at least explore trading Conley and Gasol. That the Grizzlies resisted so long was the bigger story. But Memphis is showing itself to be a typical NBA team, one willing to move on from beloved players once necessary. Sure, that's a little sad. It's also common reality. As Mason Plumlee and Derek Favors scuffled during the Jazz's win over the Nuggets on Wednesday, Nikola Jokic left Denver's bench and headed toward the fight. The NBA's rule on this is clear: players who leave the bench during an altercation get suspended 1 game. The Nuggets tried to sway the narrative, but this was a clear violation. NBA release: Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic has been suspended 1 game without pay for violating the league's rule against leaving the bench during an altercation. It was announced today by Kiki Vandeweghe, Executive Vice President, Basketball Operations. Jokic's close proximity to the altercation and aggressive manner created the potential for further escalation of the situation. As part of the same incident, Denver Nuggets center Mason Plumlee has been fined $25,000 and Utah Jazz center Derek Favors has been fined $15,000 for engaging in an altercation. The incident, for which Plumlee and Favors each received a technical foul and were ejected, occurred with 2:46 remaining in the first quarter of Utah's 114-108 victory over Denver on Jan. 23. Jokic will serve his suspension tonight when the Nuggets play host to the Phoenix Suns. Really, the Nuggets are fortunate Gary Harris and Jamal Murray weren't also suspended. Those starting guards weren't far behind Jokic in coming off the bench. Maybe Denver's politicking worked. The rule is harsh, but it's a good one. Fights tend to escalate when more people are involved. Even a player intervening as a peacemaker can easily get mistaken for an instigator in the heat of the moment. The best way to prevent altercations from building is preventing more people from involving themselves, even if well-intentioned players sometimes get suspended. And it sure didn't look like Jokic was heading toward the fray as a peacemaker. He looked ready to get scrap. It's hard to see this situation as an undesirable consequence of the rule. At least the Nuggets will lose Jokic against only the lowly Suns, and will have Harris and Murray for that game. Luka Doncic isn't just a cult hero. He's a mainstream success. Doncic built a following while playing professionally in Europe. As he transitioned to the NBA, his incredible skill level for a teenager immediately impressed draft junkies. The Suns and Kings passing on and the Hawks trading Doncic, who fell to number 3, only impassioned his base. Highlight after highlight, including clutch ones, have earned the Mavericks rookie even more fans. Doncic's supporters showed their power in All-Star voting. He finished third overall in fan voting, behind only LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The last rookie to rank so high was Grant Hill, who led the entire league in fan voting in 1995. Here's every rookie to finish in the top 10 of All-Star starter fan voting. Your player team ranked: 2019 Luka Doncic, Dal 3, 2003 Yao Ming-Hu, 4, 1995 Grant Hill, Det 1, 1993 Shaquille O'Neal, ORL 4, 1985 Michael Jordan, Kai 5, 1984 Ralph Sampson, Who 10, 1982 Isaiah Thomas, Det 3, 1980 Magic Johnson, Lol 3, 1976 Dave Myers Mill 8. It's foolhardy to compare vote totals across different eras, as voting mechanisms have changed. This year, for example, there were certain days votes counted double. But a player's rank within a given year still carries validity. Unfortunately for Doncic, he didn't get a starting spot in next month's All-Star game. The NBA no longer picks starters exclusively by fan vote, instead using a more complex system of fan, player and media votes. So, Doncic must rely on Western Conference coaches selecting him as a reserve. If chosen, he would be the first rookie All-Star since Blake Griffin in 2011. Doncic has a decent case. We'd already seen Doncic's excellent production for a rookie. The All-Star fan voting results show how much momentum he's building and popularity, too. The discussion in the NBA is whether a champion will visit the White House with Donald Trump in office. The Golden State Warriors declined to attend last season after winning the championship over the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the politics of the league suggest it's possible other champions will do the same. But it appears that the Warriors still have a soft spot for President Barack Obama. According to a post that has since been deleted, Golden State was seen meeting with President Obama sometime during their trip to Washington, D.C. for their game against the Washington Wizards. A report from the Mercury News says the team met with Obama for about an hour on Thursday. Via Mercury News, the meeting was apparently in lieu of visiting the White House to see Trump. It's the only trip to Washington, D.C. that the team will make this season, so there won't be any other opportunity to visit the White House again, save for when Golden State wins the championship in a few months. Take this how you will, but the Warriors visiting Obama and not Trump is sort of on par for what we expect from Golden State at this point. Rajon Rondo is one of the smartest players in the NBA. His mind is always racing, trying to find an edge. That basketball intelligence helped him become a star. But this is a perfect example of him occasionally being too smart for his own good. Rondo was assessed a retroactive technical foul for throwing his towel to distract a free throw shooter last year. So, Rondo tried to be clever during the Lakers' loss to the Timberwolves last night. Instead of throwing his towel straight into the air as Taj Gibson shot a free throw, Rondo threw it to a ball boy. The refs did not appreciate the distinction.